If I could only figure out how to get my team motivated.
We are never going to get this project done on time.
Oh my God, my payroll numbers are insane. Why are we having all this overtime?
Do you have these or similar employee problems? Do you feel like some of your employees are just there for a paycheck? Tired of recruiting, interviewing, onboarding, and training just to find out you must do it all over again? Then it's time for you to find out how to have outrageously awesome employees. Sit back, buckle up, and get ready because we're about to drop a knowledge bomb on you. Please welcome to the mic the host of the show, the man who puts the human in human resources, the 007 of team building, the emperor of employee engagement, Randy Starr.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of How to Have Outrageously Awesome Employees. Today we have a special guest, Erika Braun. Erika is a Director of Human Resources for Golden Corral. Erika, how are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming on. This is going to be fun. I love Golden Corral. I'm the guy at Golden Corral that everybody's saying, would you please hurry up because I want some of that too.
Well, hopefully we have enough for everyone, so you won't have to do that.
I have never had an issue with not having enough there.
Well, that's one thing we're known for is an abundance of great food.
Yes, there's no doubt about that. So, just to get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, what you've done, positions you've held, that type of thing, so we can get to know you a little bit better.
Absolutely. Well, I have been with Golden Corral Corporation based in Raleigh, North Carolina, going on 18 years, and I am the Director of Human Resources. I started with the company as a human resources rep, I think when I was about 28, and worked my way up with them, with just increased areas of responsibility, including compensation and recruitment, was promoted to manager of compensation and HRS, probably about five years into my career, and then a couple of years later promoted to director. So I've been with them now for 18 years, so I'm 46 now, and so it's definitely been a big part of my life. I just celebrated my 20th year anniversary with my husband, so I'm just right there behind that with Golden Corral.
Wow, that's great. That's not something that's easy to do nowadays.
It is more, yes, it's more unusual. People, often will just kind of look for the next opportunity instead of kind of looking internally, but it's not unusual at Golden Corral. We've got about 140 employees at our corporate headquarters, and about 75 have been with us for 20 or more years. So it's pretty amazing.
Wow. That's got to be a tremendous culture.
Definitely. It definitely leads itself to what James Maynard, our founder, built the company on, and the culture and the beliefs and the values and the family environment. But it's a family for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know my parents and their parents all went to work somewhere and stayed there for many, many, many years, and that just it's not something that you see a whole lot of anymore. So that's very good.
True. Yeah.
So 18 years ago, you started with them in human resources. What is it about human resources that you found so interesting that kept you in that field?
Well, when I started out, I have a Bachelor of Business Administration degree from the University of Georgia, and did not necessarily know what I wanted to do with my career at that point. Figured that was a safe background to help launch my career. And I started out in retail management and was in a management training program right out of school. And I found that what I loved about retail was interacting with customers and also employees. So I was responsible for hiring and doing performance management for the employees in the retail department store environment. And I really loved, the aspect of the service mentality, and that, we're here to serve our guests and customers. And in human resources, our employees are our customers. And, I've been able to continue that kind of relationship with internal customers that We're serving our employees, our managers at Golden Corral from the company's support center perspective, and I've really just enjoyed that. So I launched my career in HR from my retail management experience, realizing that where my passion is on the people management side and recruiting and just interacting with employees.
Cool. Yeah. I have a hospitality background, and people are just, they're fun.
Yes, absolutely.
And the HR folks were always the most fun to me. I used to love to hang out with the HR people during work and after work too.
It's part of enjoying what you do and having a passion, and we do laugh a lot. Yes, we do work really hard. We wear a lot of different hats in HR, but you have to have fun and inspire others to do so.
Yeah, if you don't have fun, you're in the wrong place. I used to have a boss who would say, if it takes you more than 8 hours to do your job, you've got the wrong job. And I always thought, oh my gosh. But
our former CEO of Golden Corral, Ted Fowler, who was CEO for 37 years, said that he never worked a day in his life because he loved what he did and he didn't consider it work. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very cool, because that's true too. Because right now I can work 14, 16 hours straight, and I'm not even tired because I don't feel like I'm working. Sometimes
you love what you do. Yeah,
it's just fun. So, and that's a good thing to instill. It's difficult, but it's a great philosophy. So you've had a great career. What would you consider to be your greatest accomplishment in HR so far?
Well, I have really enjoyed kind of telling the success stories of others. We've had the opportunity to nominate several different individuals over the years at Golden Corral and within our industry for various different awards and recognition. And I've been a big part of submitting their application and telling their story so that they can get the recognition that they so deserved. And typically these people don't toot their own horn. So our former CEO had an opportunity to help nominate him for the Gold Plate Award, which is a very prestigious award in the International Food Service Manufacturing Association. A couple of years later, one of our board members and a local restaurateur, Van Ure, who owns the Angus Barn, I was able to help tell her story, and she also achieved that level in status. And then, just from an employee perspective, we have an operating partner who moved from Ecuador when he was 16, and he did not speak English, started working in the restaurant industry and worked as a server in one of our restaurants, and just progressed and worked his way up to an operating partner, and then eventually became the franchise owner of his own restaurant here in Durham, and was able to tell his success story and the just incredible opportunities that the restaurant industry provides others. And he won North Carolina's Restaurant Manager of the Year for that success. So just being able to play a part in seeing these individuals and their success stories and help recognize them has been just an incredible and rewarding piece that I've been able to be part of. And I think telling our Golden Corral story and just who we are as a brand, our employees are the best individuals to do that. We recently started featuring employees of Golden Corral and our franchisees on our Golden Corral career site, and just tapping them on the shoulder to be brand ambassadors, to tell their story, not necessarily just to make something up that's great about Golden Corral, but to actually just share, their experience and why they've chosen a career at Golden Corral or what they enjoy about it. And we've had just an incredible outpouring of spotlighting these employees as brand ambassadors, and hopefully will play a big role in attracting great success stories for the future.
That's phenomenal. So the young man who came from, did you say Ecuador? How old was he? 16?
Mm-hmm. He was 16 when he came to the U.S. Yeah.
And now what does he do?
He owns his own restaurant as a franchisee with Golden Corral. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So
That's just amazing.
It's great to be able to tell those stories and just see
Yes.
them being recognized. So
It's
yeah.
and what a motivator. What a motivation for everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah,
That's
I mean,
great.
to see someone who's walked in his shoes be successful, someone else who is new in the industry or just coming up may not
Right.
have, the confidence that they could one day achieve that, but seeing his success and seeing his story allows them to feel like, yeah, one day that can be me too.
Exactly. That's all it takes for most
Yeah.
people is to see, hey, that guy did it or that lady did it. I can do it.
Yeah.
If they can do it, I can do it. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That
Absolutely.
is,
Removes the
yeah.
barriers.
Yes. Yeah. Breaks them down. Breaks down
Yep.
barriers. And he didn't even speak English.
Right. He had a lot of barriers to overcome.
I know. More than most.
Yeah.
More than
for
most.
Sure.
Okay. So tell us what you do to help your employees grow.
Well, we actually just implemented an online performance system that I'm really excited about, and we're just kind of starting to make headway with implementing. So it's really new. It's with a company called Work Compass. They're an Ireland Irish company from Ireland, but they actually provide an online way to create ongoing dialogue and communication with employees and their managers. And so it's an online tracking tool which allows them to put their goals. It has artificial intelligence that actually makes them SMART goals. So you're starting out kind of ahead of the game because most goals that employees do are not necessarily SMART. But so it makes them SMART. And then you can create milestones around those SMART goals that give you reminders on when you need to be accomplishing certain steps. So that at the end of the year, you can be on track and ensure that you're going to hit those goals. But part of that, to answer your question, there is a development plan piece that's not something that's part of the performance review rating process, but it's something that is kind of different because, we talk about having development plans, but the system has kind of prompted our employees to look at, what it's separate from what I do for Golden Corral, my job, what is my personal development? What can I do to help me be more effective or efficient in my job? And, instead of just having, say, I'm going to take a class, we have them look at, okay, what I do really well, but where are my opportunities? And what do I want to improve upon? And so it actually takes them through an exercise to sit down and have an action plan to say, okay, what am I going to do to try to overcome this opportunity? Or what do I want to learn new that I'm not doing? Or how do I want to grow or expand my career? And it kind of helps you target a date to take those steps necessary to kind of, help myself personally grow in my role. So it's very new for us. But I'm excited about the potential that it has because it's making our employees think differently about their own personal development versus just, what am I doing my job day to day?
So it sounds like you provide a tool that gives them the ability, but also the responsibility for their own development.
Absolutely.
That's
awesome. It takes accountability in their hands, but then it also, by putting it in a document, putting deadline or timelines around it, what am I actually going to do? There's a much higher propensity that they'll actually follow through with that. And then it also is something that they've communicated with their manager. So their manager can kind of hold them accountable too to say, where are you on your development plan? And it's not something we're judging or rating them on. It's just something that, we want them to help grow them to be more successful and continue to flourish.
That's phenomenal. I think it's important. I think, I've said this, I don't know how many times, if you are, as an employee, if you are putting all of your development into the hands of your employer, you're missing the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of employers that don't do what you do. A lot of them just let them stay right where they're at and they don't care. I mean, they might care, but they're not gonna step out of their way to help develop them. So you need to develop yourself. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So can you tell us a story about a time when you've helped an employee overcome a challenge?
Human resources is kind of often seen as problem solvers, and it's constant, over the course of the weeks and months, years, that a lot of times managers will come to HR with a problem, and
Right.
something that they want solved. And I think where I've really been helpful in my role is working with managers when they do have a challenge that they need to address with an employee, and really just listening to them to hear what the problem is. And oftentimes they, whether it be from the employee or the manager, they kind of, talking through it, sometimes often do solve their own problem. But what I've found that is successful is really helping the manager have more open communications with their employees so that they can clearly communicate what their expectations are, where the employee is not meeting those expectations, and what needs to happen, in order to get them back on track, so that, the individual can be successful, the team can be successful, and then the manager knows that the department goals are going to be met. So, just having that communication sometimes there's a communication breakdown, and just being able to help with that challenge, which is kind of frequent. And oftentimes people avoid dealing with conflicts until they just become so overwhelming that they have to address it. And if something was addressed earlier, it may not have become such a big issue. So it's I guess we're seen in HR as kind of like a counselor in some ways.
Oh, sure.
And over the course of the years, it's just something that I think having the communication piece and having the engaged listening skills is really key in this profession.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned about the not having the difficult conversations. I was listening to a gentleman this morning talk about that very subject, and he said that 90% of terminations happen too late because nobody wants to have that conversation, and it's not fair to the company. It's not fair to the employee. It's not fair to anybody.
Yeah,
So and that's exactly what my post was about this morning on LinkedIn. I was about when I was 19 years old. I got fired from a job when I was 19. It was the only time I got fired, and it was, I probably deserved it. And I was bummed out and I was depressed for a couple of days, and I got another job, and I thought to myself the whole time, what did I do wrong? How can I not do that again? So it helped me, Now, if they would have let me continue whatever behavior I was exhibiting at the time, then who knows what would have happened. So yeah, everything happens for a reason.
And what's even worse is if you don't address behavior that is inappropriate or shouldn't continue, then if you don't address it, not only are you allowing that behavior to happen, but you're sending a message to other employees that either that's acceptable, or that there's not a reward for actually doing a good job or doing what you're supposed to. So that's actually even worse than continuing that behavior.
Yeah, it's not only setting a precedent, but it's spreading it. It's like, hey, look, Johnny's doing this, so he can get away with it, which is not good.
I mean, it's just, and I mean, often top performers don't want to work with people who aren't pulling their weight on their team.
No, nobody does. Nobody wants to work with that, so very cool. Yep. Okay, what type of training do you feel is the most important for your employees?
Initially, I think having a great onboarding process is so critical, important to communicating the culture at Golden Corral. What are the company's beliefs? What are our values? I mean, I think that's really important, even when we recruit and interview prospective franchisees who are coming to invest millions of dollars with Golden Corral. We want them to be part of a good fit for the culture at Golden Corral, and have a focus on a service mentality and hospitality, and giving back to the community is really a key component. So, really that kind of starts with the interview process. But having that communicated and reinforced in the onboarding for new hires at the company support center, our corporate office, we also, we're here to serve our employees, our managers, and franchisees who serve our guests in our restaurants. And as part of our new hire process, we have our employees go through what's called restaurant orientation. So they spend at least 2 full days in the restaurant just learning what our business is all about and kind of the environment of the restaurant, knowing that you don't call a restaurant at 12 noon or 5 p.m., during those busy times. We don't think about that being in the office, but just, having that awareness. And then every year we go through what's called restaurant reorientation, and we go in the restaurants and work side by side with our employees, and just to kind of reinforce why we're in business. A lot of us volunteer on our military appreciation night when we give free thank you meals for our veterans and military and active duty professionals to thank them for their service to our country, and so we get an opportunity. Usually I'm bussing tables and working in the dish room, and I'm covered from head to toe in food. This past year I got to work, it's a mess, and it's hard work.
Yes,
I got to do the cotton candy machine in the bakery, and I had cotton candy sugar from my toes to my head. I mean, it was all over, but we have a blast, and I think they appreciate us coming in there. But also it's great. It's a great reminder of the environment of the restaurant.
That's phenomenal. That's got to be fun too. I mean, to go in.
It's a lot of fun.
And
but
did you call that? What did you call?
It's restaurant orientation or restaurant reorientation for
reorientation. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
It's absolutely exhausting. So it really makes you appreciate how hard our employees work serving customers, creating great experiences with the food that we serve. So it's great. We love it.
That's great. Now I know that's not your typical day, but can you tell us about what your typical day would be like?
Every day is different in HR. You think you have something that you have scheduled, but something will go a different way. So my typical day, I recruit for our executive level positions and manager positions at the company support center. So I may have interviews where I'm meeting with prospective candidates. I also manage our compensation, and so we may be looking at different pay plans or how individuals are paid or how they're actually achieving the results from their incentive plans. I also do a lot of support to our franchisees. So 90% of our business is franchise owned and operated. So, they look to us for best practices and resources. And like we just did 7 different workshops across the country where we were sharing recruitment and retention and recognition ways and incentivizing, trying to overcome, the challenges of low unemployment rate, which is great for our economy. It's challenging when you're recruiting an hourly workforce. So we do a lot of help to support them to be successful. And then we do a lot of communications and recognition. We're getting ready. I coordinate our annual convention that we do each year. So we're starting to send out, invitations and plan for speakers and do all kinds of things. But then, we may have something else that comes up that we might have a restructure or reorganization within our operations divisions. And, we need to look at, sending out different communications about different leadership changes. So, there's always something different. And that's what we're not siloed in our roles in HR. We all kind of wear a lot of different hats. So it makes things interesting. You're not just doing like one thing. Like I'm not just sitting at a computer or on a phone recruiting. I'm doing a lot of different things. So it makes it fun and interesting.
Yeah. Well, I haven't asked that question of any HR professional yet that said, yes, this is my typical day. I do A, B, C. They're all like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
There's no such thing. None.
There is not.
So,
no.
I mean, when you're dealing with people.
What makes it fun. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
You're dealing with people. So, people
and
are
often,
all different.
you'll be working on something and someone will come in and want to chat about, an organizational change or, promotion that they're planning or, just various different things that, can make your day go a different direction than you initially planned, but it's all good.
Cool. Erika, this has been really good. I've got one more question for you. It's not really for me. It's more for someone who might be listening to this particular show who has either just started in human resources or they're considering getting into human resources. Just a few words that you would give them to help make them successful.
Well, I strongly encourage that you reach out to someone in the industry or in the field that is a seasoned veteran in HR and ask them to be your mentor. And really just someone who doesn't necessarily work at your company, someone that you can use to bend their ear and get advice and counsel and just share their experience as they've grown and developed in the industry. And maybe not just have one mentor, but several individuals who can be a resource. And definitely join your local SHRM chapter so that you get ideas and just see the success stories that others in our industry have achieved.
Awesome. Great stuff. Very good stuff. Mentorship is, if everybody could have a good mentor, just think how much more productive everybody would be. But the person who is the mentor gets just as much out of it as the mentee. So, for seasoned people who are listening out there, reach out to some people who are just entering or be willing to meet and have coffee or have lunch with people, because it's, you get out of it just as much as you give. Oh, well, it's just like the teacher. The teacher learns as they teach.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I would agree 100%. Erika, this has been awesome. I really, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Yeah, and we know we don't even need to give you best wishes for more success, because just from listening to that awesome organization that you belong to, the amount of time that you've dedicated to them, we expect you to own the company in the next 90 days. So, but you already own the HR piece, so that's great.
We're very fortunate to be part of a great company, and
you are. You certainly are, because trust me, there's a bunch of them out there that would love to have your culture and some of the stuff that you've said in this interview. They would just, they're very jealous and envious of this. So this is great stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude this episode. Guys, those of you who are watching for the first time, subscribe. We'll send you notifications when there's new episodes published. And we hope you have an awesome weekend. Thanks, and bye for now.
Thanks for hanging out with us. Please feel free to contact Randy with any questions about team building or employee engagement issues. Subscribe to this channel so you'll be notified when new episodes are published.